In the next video down, you're going to see a video about finding your true voice, gender affirmation, and vocal confidence. This was a local WABC TV Pride special. This video is about today's climate of rising anti-trans legislation. Gender affirming voice therapy is more than just vocal training. It's a vital form of empowerment and protection. A Long Island speech therapist helps trans clients express their true selves through tone, pitch, and style, boosting their confidence, safety, and visibility. This care affirms identity and becomes a powerful act of resistance. Further down, you're going to notice two articles that you have an opportunity to click on to learn more about the trans community and some effective ways to help them. The first one being about developing a mobile application for gender affirming voice training, a community engaged approach. This was a study that had focused on developing a mobile app for voice and communication modification training, also known as VCMT, tailored to transgender and gender conforming, also known as TGNC individuals. It used a community-based approach with an interprofessional team and a community advisory board, also known as CAB, of 6 TGNC members to ensure inclusivity. This process had led to an app that is more functional and accessible, with valuable insights into the importance of community involvement in overcoming challenges like limited budgets. The study had shown highlights, the potential of community-based participatory research to create better tools for marginalized groups. The following one that you can click on is also known as the effectiveness of gender-affirming voice training for trans feminine clients, a comparison of traditional versus intensive delivery schedules. This was done by PubMed. This was a study that had examined the effectiveness of 2 different gender-affirming voice training schedules for transgender individuals aiming to develop a feminine voice. It compared a traditional schedule, which was one 45-minute session per week for 12 weeks, with a more extensive and intensive schedule of 3 45-minute sessions per week for 4 weeks. The results had shown that both schedules led to a significant improvement in voice quality and alignment with gender identity, with participants reporting increased satisfaction. However, not all participants achieved a consistently feminine voice. The improvements in voice quality and alignment with gender identity, with participants reporting increased satisfaction. However, not all participants achieved consistently feminine voice. The study concluded that both training schedules are effective in highlighting the importance of diverse measures to assess progress. In the next section of the website, titled Transgenders Have Rights Too, you're going to learn about Florida and how it has enacted several laws impacting transgender individuals. One of those laws being the gender affirming care ban, which was in 2023. The Florida legislature passed a law prohibiting gender affirming care for minors and imposing restrictions on adults seeking such treatments. A federal appeals court has allowed the law to be enforced while legal challenges continue. The following was the facility requirements based on Sex Act. This was effective July 1st of 2023. This is a law that mandates the individuals to use restrooms and changing facilities corresponding to their sex assigned at birth in certain public spaces. The first known enforcement occurred in March 2025 when a transgender woman was arrested for using a restroom aligning with her gender identity. Parental Rights in Education Act. This was also known as the Don't Say Gay Law. This 2022 statute restricts discussions on sexual orientation and gender identity in public schools, affecting LGBTQ+ students and educators. As you navigate down a little further, you're going to notice a section titled Non-Peer Reviews. These were 6 different reviews that I had done. Some of these were mentioned earlier in the slides. The first 2, one being the developing of a mobile application for gender affirming voice training, a community engaged approach, and the other being the effectiveness of gender affirming voice training for trans feminine clients. Those I will not go over in further detail because we went over those in the previous slide. The next one is called In Transition, Ensuring the Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights of Transgender Populations. This one was about the roundtable discussion from the In Transition Gender, also known as Identity, Law and Global Health Symposium, focused on the sexual and reproductive health and rights, also known as SRHR, of transgender populations. This highlighted the barriers such as limited access to healthcare, stigma, violence, and rights violations. The discussion emphasized the importance of transgender leadership in improving their own conditions and the need for partnerships to create actionable data and make informed decisions. Effective SRHR interventions must address social, cultural, legal, and political contexts, focusing on gender affirmation. The goal is to spark the global conversation to advocate for policy changes and collective action to improve transgender health and rights. The next one, also known as the 12 accenting the trans voice echoing autodysphoria. This is a text that explores the complexities of trans voice, particularly regarding voice dysphoria and audio dysphoria. It discusses the challenges trans people face, like linguistic profiling, misgendering, and disembodiment, especially in places like call centers or media. The article contrasts these struggles with moments of audio euphoria, such as karaoke scene in Third Body, where the protagonist sings Tina Turner's Private Dancer, offering a rare, joyful escape from societal scrutiny. It critiques the pressure for trans individuals to conform to a rehabilitative narrative, instead celebrating moments where trans voices are exposed on their own terms, highlighting the transformative power of assistive technologies like karaoke. The next one for the non-peer review is the Gender Identity and Diversity, learning from insights gained in transformative gender training. This was an article that emphasized the interconnectedness of gender identity and power in development organizations. It argues that the gender cannot be discussed in isolation, as identities are multiple and interlinked. Gender and diversity training explores the power dynamics between different identities, recognizing how some confer privilege while others face vulnerability. The article also outlines key insights from training, including the need to address organizational structures, challenge exclusionary power, and promote inclusion. It highlights that both personal and institutional transformations are necessary for meaningful change, offering valuable lessons for organizations seeking effective gender and diversity policies. Last but not least is the history transgender medicine in the United States from margins to mainstream. This was about the history of transgender medicine in the United States that offers a comprehensive history of transgender medicine featuring over 40 scholars, physicians, psychologists, and activists. Spanning 3 centuries, it highlights the experience of transgender individuals and challenges myths surrounding gender-affirming care. The book explores the collaborations and conflicts between trans people and medical professionals, offering a deep insight into this evolving field. It also emphasizes the long-standing presence of gender diversity, providing a clerical context for current debates and trans healthcare access in the US. I do believe that the most important section that I have in here is titled Trans People Are People. This also goes over how to support and just some local advocacy, and also how we can help these trans people that are going through these processes. In the video, you're going to notice a Texas Attorney General's lawsuit against a pediatrician for violating the state's gender-affirming care ban marks the first enforcement of such laws, which are now present in over half of the U.S. states. A recent study by the Trevor Project shows that suicide attempts among transgender and non-binary youth rose by 7 to 72% in states with anti-trans legislation. These laws, affecting everything from bathroom access to healthcare and pronouns, have a direct and indirect impact on mental health. Supportive adults and communities play a key role in reducing suicide attempts, with ongoing education and awareness needed to combat stigma. The trend of these laws is expected to grow, regardless of political outcomes. And then further down, you're going to notice the local support and advocacy. I felt that was important to also include for you. That goes over despite the challenges, Tampa Bay offers several resources for the transgender community. Listed below, you're going to notice 4 different things that I have. One being the Trans Network. This is a local organization dedicated to uplifting and empowering transgender and gender expansive individuals, providing a supportive and inclusive space for connection and advocacy. The following one is called GLSEN Tampa Bay. This is part of a national network. GLSEN Tampa Bay works to ensure safe and supportive education for LGBTQ plus students, offering programs and support for students, educators, and allies. Third is the Equality Florida. This is a statewide advocacy group that works to protect and advance the rights of LGBTQ plus individuals in Florida, including legal challenges against discriminatory laws. Last but not least is the Trans Lifeline. This is a peer support and crisis hotline offering phone support to transgender people, staffed entirely by transgender operators. And then last but not least is the how you can help section. You can help them by staying informed, keep up with local and state legislation affecting transgender rights, support local organizations, volunteer, donate, and participate in events hosted by local advocacy groups. You can also help by being an ally, stand up against discrimination, and support transgender individuals in your community. In the footer of the website, you're going to notice the video references I have listed, the peer review references I have listed, as well as the non-peer reviews that I have listed. In reference to all these, this is also known as the Works Cited section of the website, which gives you all the citations that I have used for this project.